I guess the first thing is, I want people to understand what it was like for you before you joined, as in like what were the behaviors, the situation, the emotions, what did that look like before you reached out?
For myself, it was obviously like anybody else, secrecy. I didn't want to tell my partner what I was doing. And I also wanted to keep my kind of lifestyle pretty contained to my close group of friends. So it was a lot of deceit, if that's the best way to put it. Really just basically you're looking forward to like a big weekend. You're like, oh, this is going to be great. And then, oh, where's the after party going to be? Or we can go here. And then I was trying to prepare for basically the come down and also the next 3 days of the carnage that would follow with that. And myself, obviously, I've got a young family, and it's not as easy as like obviously for some people that who don't have like young children, they can kind of keep going. But for me, it was kind of that was a temporary escape. But then reality kicked in at 4 o'clock in the morning. As anyone who's probably listened to this will know what 4 o'clock in the morning feels like when reality hits you, and the fun that you had is now turned into fear and desperation. So there was the best way to put it was a kind of a lot of secrecy and also a bit of shame as well, because obviously nobody wants to turn around and say, "Oh, by the way, I had a great weekend. What did you do?" We just stayed in my friend's house and we listened to Oasis and done lots of coke, and people just look at you going, "What?" But then people, that's kind of life I was at that time that I was interested in. Obviously, sports played a big factor into it for a lot of people, especially with football, pubs. You just kind of staggered your day as like a game of football. It kicks off at 3 o'clock, and then you go back and have drinks, and then you go back to somewhere else, and then before you know it, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of it was secrecy, I would say.
Yeah, super relatable as well. And then what was it about my content or what we did? What was it that attracted you towards us?
Yeah, no, for myself, it was really, it was, you were on a podcast and I had, ironically, I think for a lot of people, what they do is when they search YouTube, and even though back a couple of years back, there wasn't that many people, there was a couple, but it's not as vast as what it is now, as you'll probably know as well, Will. And I think you were the first person I could kind of relate with. And there's nothing against other people that were kind of trying to help others, but I found it just a bit quite confrontational. Yourself, kind of presented yourself, this is what happened, this was my story, and this is how I changed. And you kind of, it was kind of like an instruction of this is how I got better, and this is how you can get better. For a lot of people, it's important to make that first call. What will happen, and looking back now, is your ego will determine that this is okay. You're overreacting. You're not like that person on the park bench. You can hold a job there. You're different. It's just this is what happens. This is what we do. Your ego will spin many stories, and then you'll convince yourself that you're fine. And sometimes for some people, they can do it by themselves. They can you know refrain from drinking. But for myself, it was always going to catch up with me. And before I met you, the longest I probably would have done would have been about like 2.5 months. And without the proper education and also the method behind it, those 2 months were just wasted because I had no idea of how to kind of get to the next level. And for that, it was basically, as I think a lot of people have seen it online, as like the fuck off button or the fuck you button, where you have a really bad day and like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to do it. So that for me, I still had that, and I never knew how to basically overcome the first hurdles, which is was great. And obviously, when I spoke to you, I think it was in November, and then run random January. I think I just emailed you. It's like, by the way, I'm in your group now.
Yeah,
So I
I
kind of caught you
remember.
by surprise.
I remember
But
that.
then to say to people listening to the way I looked at it was when I spoke to Will, it was kind of like in the back of my head because when I met Will, it was pretty much what I expected and also understanding and just basically explaining what he does and how he helps and stuff like that. And I know sometimes, well, a lot of things online, a lot of people can be a bit trepidatious and, well, I'm not sure what's this going to be like and stuff like that. But I felt a lot of ease and calm, which I referred to going back to, which was the podcast you done with that guy.
Tell me a little bit about when you first joined, when you signed up. What was the initial feeling, thoughts? What did you
So
think of it when you joined?
when I joined, I was basically what happened was I had an ultimatum, and I had a really bad weekend, and I went out and overdone it. And I was kind of confronted in the morning by my partner. They couldn't go on like this. It was just too much. I was causing too much pain for my partner, not knowing where I was going to be, what I was up to, what I was really doing. So when I joined, I think the first couple of days are that kind of, I'll prove you, I'll show you what's going to happen. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to sell this, I'm going to do that. And you're still kind of, it's your ego fighting. It's kind of like a remnant of the ego of telling you, oh, no, you're fine, you're okay. And you're like, oh, we'll show them, we'll do this, and we'll do that. And looking back at it now, it probably wasn't the right way to come into it, but unfortunately, when you're at that stage where you're kind of ready to make change, your ego will basically tell you, no, no, this is not going to happen. Oh, you want to do that? Well, let's try this. Throw everything at the wall, all or nothing thinking. So when I joined the group, I knew right away that I was going to like I'd imagine where most of us on this call were all or nothing people. So I wanted to throw myself into it, and I knew that I didn't want to be shy because I knew that I was going to be beside people that were in the same boat as myself. So I straight away watched your videos, and then you said, right, tomorrow 6 o'clock, leaving class. I was like, yep, sure, I'll be for that. I'll be there, and then kind of met you through that and spoke to people, and just really kind of just like introducing myself and not feeling shy. And I know it's difficult for a lot of people because I know sometimes I'm saying you're meeting strangers on the internet, but I can guarantee that there's a lot of people I still keep in contact with today from those chats and groups that were really in the same boat as myself, and it was really nice to speak to them. That's, to be honest with you, it was great to meet other people from all around the world.
What did you find, I guess, most helpful? Like when did you start to notice things were changing?
When I spoke to a good group of people, what I learned was everyone all sticks together, the chats are there for people to kind of basically air their frustrations or their sadness or their emotions. There was an outlet. For a lot of people, it's a very difficult time because you're having to deal with a lot of people's I'm trying to use the right word, not prejudices. I can't say it. People's expectations is like, oh no, it's just a phase. Oh, this is what he says, and it can be quite difficult because you want to be trying to be seen as taking this quite seriously. So when you've got a group of people that are in the same boat yourself, you can kind of rely on them and also the teachings. For me, the most important thing that you told me was if it becomes too much, just walk out. And I kind of like that because I thought that's brilliant. I never had to use it, but I like that because it put the ball in my court and also really just told my best friend, I said, look, this is a situation, this is what's going to be happening from now on. He understood it, obviously at the time, but skeptical. But I just wanted to, at the start, to kind of have the same people that were on the same boat as me, all helping each other. And the advice came straight away. And
If you look back at the whole journey that you had, how would you summarize that in a couple of sentences?
amazing and insightful. I learned so much, and I'll say this to anyone who's thinking about joining or if they're already in the midst of making a change. Don't focus on the end, which is for a lot of people when they first start, I've got to make it to first year. It's great to celebrate. It's like a landmark of like, wow, I made it to the first year. That's amazing. For me, it was looking back now, it was the little victories that kind of compounded over time to become the first year. It was just those making those small changes and really kind of changing the way of thinking. I think it rewires your brain. And then as we started the chat, you said like, "Oh, you're looking really healthy." And the interesting thing is with yourself, well, you see people at the start, and then you see people at the end. So you'll get to see the whole journey, which is and so do other people in the groups, which is really interesting. So you get to see the change in personality, and I've seen it myself. There was the person that was in the group. I'm hoping he's still there really had struggled for a good couple of years, and he made a difference. And I said that to him when I saw him. I said, "Really good." So I said, "You see the change straight away." That's just the benefits of it. I also like the fact that you were very straightforward with what was going to happen, and I think for a lot of people, is the most important thing is when the emotions come to the forefront to learn how to deal with them. I always remember when I said that to you, it's like, I don't know why I feel so sad, and then you explained it to me, and you just good way of putting it is you just got to ride it out. And I was like, right, okay, I'm going to ride this out. And for some people, it can be quite difficult, and I get that, but it's an important part, fortunately. Once you kind of sit with your emotions, they change. And that's what for myself. So it was like, you know, Jack, you don't need to go into every bar and drink as much as you possibly. You're out with people. You're not compelled to do it. It's not like there's some voodoo force when you walk in and you have to do it. So it was like making those changes was down to the fact that I sat with emotions and basically decide what kind of person am I? Who am I? Am I this person who I've presented after all these years? Or am I somebody different who's kind of decided, no, that's not me. This is like who I want to be now.
Inspiring. And how long has it been now? How long have you been alcohol
It's
free?
been 891 days now, I think. 891 days. Yeah. Well,
Well
thank
done,
you.
buddy.
Well, thank you to the team. It's been really interesting. There's, with anything in life, there's ups and downs. Myself, the course prepared me for the advice that you need to get yourself on to the next part. For some people, they can do it, which is great. That's a skill. I think sometimes as humans, we need some kind of support system, especially when you're making a big life choice like that. Fortunately, especially in the Western world, it's kind of dictated by alcohol and having a good time. It's intrinsic with everything we do today in society, to be honest with you. And when you kind of come to that calmness of accepting it for what it is and how it doesn't control you anymore, that's life changing. It's just, this is amazing. It's really kind of, there's been so many changes. Like, for example, we just put an offer down on a house that got accepted. The relationships are 10 times better. I mean, embarrassing it is. I never learned to drive when I was a bit older, but I can drive now. And the reason for that is because my mind is more calmer now because I can accept things rather than what it was in the past before, which when something annoyed me, I was like, I'm just going to store this up to the weekend and just like take it out on having a good time and stuff like that. But I'm just more kind of accepting of things. I mean, we all have bad days. It's never going to be like we're waking up every day and we're skipping down the road. And I think for sometimes you need that kind of bit of balance in your life, challenges. So it's a good way of rewiring your brain to make sure that, when the big problems do happen, you go like, you know what, I've got this. I know what to do. And if you're ever stuck, the group's always there. I mean, for example, I was sitting in a car, I was just looking. My niece is working at a pub down the road from where I stay. And obviously I saw people outside it and it's the obviously come to summertime, like, that's great. We could have a drink. And then your mind, I just catch the thought and let it go. And I go, and if it comes back, I ask myself, well, if I'm really desperate for a drink, I'm going to go up and get a non-alcoholic beer. Do you really want that just now? Nah, not really. There we go. That's it.
That's it.
That's how I deal with it. We always have thoughts like that, but with the meditation, it kind of helps you prepare yourself to kind of let those thoughts come and go. And I mean, I done pretty well. It was 100 days or something. 100 days of like meditation I done, and that helped me for flying as well. It was funny because like I remember when I went, that was my first sober holidays. That's actually like, another thing as well. The weddings are fine, sober holidays are fine. It just becomes like a superpower, and you're just used to it. And the good thing is, when you get to a point where I am just now for yourself, well, you can be comfortable around people drinking. I think sometimes, well, not for beginners, but we do have to make peace with the fact that other people will drink. You will come across this, and it's how you react to it and how your emotions deal with it. And for myself, it's kind of like, well, this is what people do. I don't do that anymore. If I really don't want to be here, I can leave. I don't have to stay till like 3 o'clock in the morning to validate somebody else's feelings. Yeah, no, it's just I think yourself. You get to a point where you're just like there's more calmness in your mind, and it's all from making the small changes.
Exactly. Well, listen,
Hmm.
to finish this off, it would be good to hear what advice you would give someone at the stage, or even what advice you would give that version of you on that first call who was umming and ahhing. And there's always a lot of fears, right? Is this real? Is it going to work? Is it a scam? There's so many different fears. I guess what would you say to someone who's in that space?
I would go in with an open mind. You're going to be beside people that are in the same boat as yourself. Do not write it off because your ego will tell you that straight away. Make sure you do as asked, and that's turning up to the calls, speaking with people. I get if you're a bit shy or nervous, but for myself, I don't think you should beat yourself up too much. You're making a big lifestyle change, and it's not going to happen overnight. In an ideal world, we'd love it to happen overnight. If that was the case, then it'd be brilliant. But unfortunately, your brain needs to rewire. It needs to rewire from being this person that was an all or nothing. Let's go out till Sunday morning, go absolutely crazy, to somebody that can kind of basically regulate the thoughts that could kind of tell you to do that. So it won't happen overnight. Now, the beauty with that is the more that you put into it, the more you get out of it. That's really what I'd say to people. Don't beat yourself up. Don't put a time on yourself as like, right, if I'm not feeling like this by that, because you're just setting yourself up to fail. The first couple of weeks, your ego will be dictating. Try and limit it as best as you can. It will be there, but try and limit it and use the group to help you with any problems.
Well said. Well,
No,
I appreciate that, Jack. I think there's going to be a lot of people in a bad place who just might listen to this and just might get inspired, as they should do, because you're an
yeah.
inspiration, buddy.
To be honest, and I'll say that to them right now. I was the same. I was lying on my couch. The world was falling apart. I felt like I was going to have multiple heart attacks. And I remember sitting there watching YouTube, and I clicked on your video, and you appeared, and that was it. It was just like, and I got my phone. I was like, oh, I'm just going to follow him, and then that's how it started. So I was the exact same place as everybody else. At the bottom, going like, how am I going to get better? How's this going to get better? And yeah, just happy to made the change.
Love it, man.